I'm gonna be perfectly honest with you, okay?
Us.
With you too.
Be honest with us.
I would not.
Huh.
I would not run from New York to Washington D.C. For any amount of money. Okay, and I don't think I could pull it off in the first place. Right. But someone has done just that, and she's covered some 250 miles, motivated by the election of Donald Trump to protect something that she cares deeply about.
Well, that someone is Alison Mariella Desir. And she's here to tell us how she and a small group of women raised more than $100,000 for Planned Parenthood and what prompted them to take such a long-distance effort. Thank you. We salute you.
Thank you so much.
You did what he couldn't.
You totally did what I couldn't. I mean,
yeah.
That's an amazing feat in and of itself. But please, can you tell us when and why did you have the idea for this run?
Sure. So the when was right before New Year's, actually. It was like December 26th, December 27th. Just thinking about, I guess at that point, the reality of the election had set in that Trump was in fact going to be our president. So thinking about what could I do to use my resources, use my community to make a difference, because I felt like I hadn't done enough during the election period itself. So for me, the way that I came to long distance running was really through my own personal struggle with depression. So running was a really transformational experience, and through running I found community. So thinking about like the legacy of all these movements that, you know, whether they're marches or long distance runs, I thought, why not use my community and my resources to do something big? So I came up with this idea. I knew that the Women's March was happening January 21st. I was like, what if I run there and I raise money for Planned Parenthood?
Yeah. Okay, so
You're giving us a lot. You're giving us a lot.
Had you ever done anything sort of this nature or magnitude before?
Not on this level, and I actually didn't expect it to get this big. I mean, I've been a distance runner since 2012, and I've run marathons and one ultra marathon. So running and the pain of running is definitely something that's familiar to me. But no, this would be like, this was much bigger than anything I had done.
So a lot of us in this city felt a collective sadness, and you had the cure for yourself and some other people in your community, and you said, we're going to run to D.C.
Yeah.
We'll raise $44,000.
Yes.
That's our goal.
Yes.
If we could just get $44,000.
Where did the idea of 44?
Well, our favorite president, Barack Obama, it was in his honor.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And I thought that was massive. I was like, if I don't know people with that money,
Right.
No.
right? So, and what's actually amazing is we raised $104,000, and most of those donations were like $5 and $10 donations. So
Just
it
like
was
Obama.
Right, exactly. So people for whom giving money was, you know, it was not easy to give up these $5, $10, but it showed just the level of commitment that people had and how important the cause was to them as well.
Okay, so you came up with the idea.
Yeah.
And then the idea changed.
Yes.
How did it change?
Good things do.
Yes, exactly. It evolved.
Yeah.
So I shared the idea with my friend Talisa, who is ultramarathoner, woman of color, and I was like, I have this great idea. What do you think? And she said yes. So I actually blame her. She was down. So if she wasn't down, this may not.
Co-sign.
Exactly.
Right? Am I crazy?
And she was like, no, you're not crazy. And then like I put the GoFundMe out on January 2nd, and within a couple of days, I could just see the energy around what we had put together. And hundreds of women from all over the country, not even just New York, started reaching out and wanted to participate. So a mentor of mine, Mary Arnold, I sat down with her. She's also an endurance athlete, and she was like, look, let's change this from a 5-day event into an overnight relay so that we can accommodate as many people as possible.
Yeah.
So we started January 18th at 6 p.m., and every 4 miles, people were there joining in, providing food, water, cheer stations.
Yeah.
So we actually have some video of a stop along the route. We've got people who are running that we're going to look at right now.
It's not me in the video.
Yeah.
If you squint, you might see Aaron. So this is phenomenal. So I want to ask you just about the logistics while we scroll through some of these beautiful images Harlem Run represent.
Yes.
So how did you keep it going and organized? Because there are people right now who are sitting and they still are in their feelings about the election and some of the things that are coming down the pipe.
Use that energy.
Whether it's NYCHA or Planned Parenthood. So how do you go from the idea to getting your feet on the ground?
Absolutely. I think for me, it was having a really tangible goal. You know, I think if my goal was to change Donald Trump's mind and secure women's reproductive rights forever and ever, then I wouldn't even know how to go about that. But I started with something really concrete. I'm going to fundraise for an organization that I believe in. I'm going to use something that I'm really comfortable with, which is running, and I'm going to engage the community. So I think when you focus your energies and align them with your passions, you can really be successful. So the logistics of this, I mean, they were massive. We had this Google document, and women were adding their names in and adjusting locations, and it's actually really amazing that nobody just deleted the Google Doc or like, sabotaged the whole thing, because that was our game plan, you know. In there was like where to meet us, what the transitions were. So yeah, it was just really powerful the way that it all came together.
So what was, you said it was powerful as it came together, but as this is sort of happening before your eyes, you know, what was sort of your reaction? What was the reaction that your team had when they realized that not only was this going to be successful, but, you know, so much so?
Lots of shock, you know, like waking up and seeing the news coverage and all of the excitement. Yeah, I mean, it's bizarre. So it almost became surreal. Like, we knew that we had this thing to accomplish, but then outside of it, everybody was like watching us and excited for us. It's something that I've never experienced. So that also was really, it was something to grapple with. Like, how do you remain focused? And then also, like, there was the question of, like, can we really pull this thing off? Like, we've gotten all this attention and excitement, like
money.
Yeah, and money. Like, now we really have to perform. But yeah, I learned so much along the way, and you know, when we took off from New York, there were probably about 150 people who took off with us. Then we got to Philly, and they blew that out of the water. It was like 250 people. I felt like Beyonce. And then,
so how did it feel coming into the nation's capital?
Oh, that was, I mean, we were so exhausted at that point. So when I finally saw the Capitol building, I was like, oh my God, hallelujah. And it was just so special. Like, we got there at 6:21 in the morning, so we got there before the march, so we were able to go right up to the Capitol building. It was like quiet and peaceful, and we had 50 members of this other running crew, District Running Collective, who joined us. So it was just like, we did it, you know?
Can I ask you to kick it up a little bit for me and like give us the 10,000 feet view, because the significance of women running from here to there matters all the more just because of the history of women in competitive running and the restrictions that have been broken and that you're continuing to break with this run.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, you know, many people may not remember this, but 50 years ago, Catherine Switzer was the first woman to run the Boston Marathon as a numbered entry, and she actually had to sneak into the race. She signed up as K. Switzer, so they didn't know whether she was a male or female, and you can see images of her at one point when the race directors realized that she was a woman and they're trying to pull her out of the race. So the very fact that women are running these distances, that women of color are participating in these distances, and that we're reclaiming our own bodies, the very thing that the government is trying to control. And we're saying, look, we're using our bodies to send a powerful message. So, you know, for me, the personal is political, and running as a woman of color, is really a political act.
So when is the next event, the next run? Are
when
people
is the Lifetime
signing
movie?
Are people signing up to train with you, to volunteer? How could people reach you?
For sure. So lots of really cool things have happened. Everybody, the minute we finished the run, everybody was like, what's next? And I was like, I'm going to take a nap. But the energy and excitement is real. So we actually, we put out a call for ambassadors, and we selected 23 ambassadors in the United States and Canada. And the idea is those women are interested in carrying on this mission. So then we had to think about, okay, what is this mission, right? And it's using grassroots activism to really bring about change, and using running as the vehicle for that. So we'll be bringing those women to New York at the end of April for a summit, where we will educate them on some of our best practices, things that we learned along the way. And the expectation is for them to host their own long-distance relay events at the end of the summer to fundraise for Planned Parenthood.
So what can the fellas do besides
Well,
writing a check?
I mean, we definitely would love a check, but also, you know, I should say that without men participating in this event and people who identify across the gender spectrum, it wouldn't have been possible. So while the focus is on women's reproductive rights are human rights. So we had men run with us, escort us. At one point, at 3 in the morning, these 2 men like pulled over in a car, ran out, and gave us coffee, and we were like, "What's happening?" So yeah, exactly, to try to catch us. So we, you know, we encourage all people, no matter how they identify, to really get behind this movement.
Phenomenal. So, like I said, when is the Lifetime movie? I know Hollywood's been calling. You're not so ugly.
Thank you.
We've got an athletic
If you're out there.
person. Like, this feels very inspiring to me. I could see like Oprah ringing you up saying, "Use your life."
Let's knock on wood.
All right, I think you started a movement.
Thank you.
More than a movement, a run. Like you started.
run,
They're
yeah.
more than moving.
You're taking
they're running.
people with it running. I mean, that's just amazing. 240
Might
miles.
get this guy to lace up.
I mean, that would be a
Okay, hold
true
on.
achievement. If I could get you to run 1 mile with us.
Oh my God, he has a series.
Okay. Anyway, we'll talk about
Discomfort
those
zone.
things.
Here we
We'll talk
go.
about
Aaron,
things.
learning
But
to
Run
run.
for All Women.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Alison.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, it was an amazing story when we first heard about it. It's an honor to actually sit down here with you.
Thank
we
you.
can't wait to, okay, I see what you did there. Yeah, okay, so we'll talk.
Yeah. And runforallwomen.com. That's where you can find us. We're also Run for All Women on Instagram and Twitter. And I will see you for our next run.
Oh, did you hear that? That was the sound of the gauntlet.
I'll run.
It's like,
I'll
Yo.
run.
right
There you go.
in this
See, I can't run for me. That's
Yeah.
the thing.
Well, now
I can't do it for
we
me.
found it.
Yeah.
But for somebody else, I could do that.